All right, we are live. It is the 16th of February as we are cycling out very quickly from the sign of Aquarius. And this is Robert Phoenix with your daily astro weather, or well, at least from Tuesday through Friday, you get the astro weather. Sunday night, you get a little astro weather too for Monday. So we try to close the gap a little bit here. Friday, we talk about the weekend. Sunday night, we talk about Monday, and we bring it right back on Tuesday through Friday once again. So anyway, welcome to our sojourn into the atmospheric waves, the etheric waves of the cosmic winds and the celestial influences on our daily and collective lives. What was the Chinese curse? May you live in interesting times. I believe that's how it goes. Well, you're in interesting times, believe me. Getting ready to hit Pisces and the deluge. Isn't it interesting how Aquarius, the water bearer, tips the contents of the heavens into the next sign, which is, of course, is Pisces, the oceans, the seas, the emotional intelligence of the realm that we live in. So it's really a fascinating sign, right? Aquarius, literally emptying into the very next sign itself. So let's get into the chart for today. We still have well, the moon is changed. Hello, it's in Capricorn. I took advantage of that Sagittarian moon yesterday. I had a really nice dinner with a friend in town. Lively, convivial, bustling restaurant with lots of people doing people things, hanging out, talking, pressing the flesh. Yes, these things do occur. And it was great. Well, today the mood turns a little more serious as we talk about the effects of the Capricorn moon. The Capricorn moon, not the warmest of moons. It does highlight and feature the A word, and I'm talking about austerity. So you're looking around at what you need today, which will almost dovetail nicely and synchronistically into when I talk about the Sun-Saturn conjunction. So let's bookmark that. What do you need, right? What do you need? What's important? And yes, here in the Northern Hemisphere, we're cycling down with winter, although some people have had some interesting winter blasts as of late. It seems to be getting warmer. We had our early spring with a flash of freeze for about 5 or 6 days here in Texas a couple of weeks ago. And then I think that's it for us. Right. So you have some time here. You have some time to figure out what you're going to need moving forward in your life. This is important. Look what happened in Ohio. Look what's happening all over the United States. Derailments, things burning down, processing plants being shut down. This is a significant story and one that's not getting a lot of attention, although Tucker Carlson has mentioned this. You won't hear about much of it on the mainstream news. And usually when we talk about things like prepping or making sure that you have enough of something, we're talking about those things as we head into winter, right? Those are the conversations we have heading into winter. Well, we're having this conversation as you head into spring because we have yet to feel the effects, the downstream effects of the catastrophes of the last 6 months. So that Capricorn moon, that tough Capricorn moon, the Saturnian moon, which is not very emotional, by the way. It's old school. There it is, and it's squaring off against Jupiter and Chiron. It's an interesting square. It's right here, right? So when you get into Jupiter squares, what do? It cracks things open. We get more of the thing, right? There's a There's a risk, there's an element, there's like, let's open the floodgates here a little bit. So if you have to open up your pocketbook to get a few things that can help you over the next 5 to 6 months, so be it, right? Jupiter says, go ahead, spend that money. You'll probably have an ROI on it. Just make sure that it has a long-term use and value, because that's the nature of the moon in Capricorn. The moon is squaring Chiron, and so you have to be able to weather the effects of somebody saying, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Oh, you're one of those prepper freaks. Oh, why are you so paranoid? Don't you trust the system? Well, the moon in Capricorn, you have to be able to stand alone on the rings of Saturn. You're standing alone. You're saying, oh, well, I there's a saying that relates to this. God helps those who help themselves. And this is the story of today's Astro Weather. The moon is also trining and will continue to trine Uranus over the course of the day. And so things happen quickly. Emotions are processed with Capricorn wastes no time. Capricorn doesn't have time for time. So moving through things quickly can be a real asset today. Also, there's the background of innovation when it comes to adding things for your home. What kind of technologies can you add to your home that improve things? Maybe you want to get some solar panels. Maybe you want to get, if you're in, I'm telling you, if you're in the Ohio and Kentucky and West Virginia area, you may want to look at figuring out how you're going to filter out and distill your water so you can drink it and not, have 4 eyes or die of another accelerated disease or pathogen that's been introduced into our environment. So this is a good day to do things like that. Say what you will about Capricorn, but it's always moving upwards. And so even with the arid and dry and austere Capricorn moon, you want to look at how you can improve your lot. And it may be at risk to other people, or maybe at risk to how other people view you. Move past it. The Capricorn moon has no time for sentimentality. So we have Mercury and Pluto. Mercury is moved out in front. It's moved out in front of Pluto, and it's going to catch up to Mars. And we can see it now, right? The Mercury-Mars trine. That's fast. That's action. It's light speed. Yesterday, I'm just going to go back. I have to go back a little bit. And this is the capstone on the Capricorn moon. Yesterday, in the comments section for yesterday's show, SJS, I love her. She's a great Sagittarian, and she chimes in the Sagittarian moon. And she said, it's about time that you've noticed these things that are happening. I always notice these things. I always notice these things. But as time has gone on, I've reacted as emotionally as I used to. And there's a reason for that. Number one, emotions are like protein for things we can't always articulate, witness, or describe. And number two, when you do things out of an emotional state or frenzy, they don't always work out real well. And so I have a moon square Saturn in my chart, and over time I've been able to become a little bit more how do we say this, more stoic about how these things unfold. Today, with the Jupiter square, there can be some excitation, right? I would not be surprised if you'll see more emotions, more fiery emotions as it relates to what's happening in places like East Palestine and other areas of this country where it feels very much like the moon, which is the homeland, is under a form of attack. That brings us back to Mercury Mars. Know what you know, right? Know what you know. If you know it, you know it. Mercury in Aquarius is cool. It's young, it's fast, it's scientific, and it trines Mars, and it's going to keep moving towards a tighter trine with Mars. So you can make very fast decisions. Today, they're informed decisions. The moon is getting ready to go into balsamic mode here. So you're having to let go, right? Let go of things that don't serve you. And even when the moon is in Capricorn, it serves a purpose. It is the emotional scythe and shears that cuts away the dead wood. Dead wood is a theme here today, as you'll see when we move into the Sun-Saturn conjunction right over here. Look at Sun-Saturn. They're just hanging out together at 27 degrees. What are they doing? Well, not a lot, except having a form of communion. It's a very interesting Sabian symbol, which I'm going to talk about here pretty quickly. So know what you know, right? Know what you know and move. You know, the days ahead, we've got roughly about a week, let's call it 10 days with this Mercury-Mars trine, where action, immediacy, moving on what you know, the clarity, right? And even the genius of Mercury and Aquarius is there. It's a very interesting day. You know, we still have Venus and Neptune hanging out together and wanting to cuddle puddle. Right? It's like, can't we all get along? Yes, theoretically, we'd love to. We'd love to get along. It would be wonderful. But there are things happening right now where the wheat and the chaff are separating, and we're seeing that. The challenge is, can you maintain some semblance of inner peace and harmony, some semblance of being able to relate with others in a way that is harmonious, kind, and even in some ways divine? This is the namaste, right? Right here. The Venus-Neptune conjunction. The God in me understands and recognizes, embraces the God in you. So we have this going on. And we have other things going on as well. Are they mutually exclusive? I would say no. They're not mutually exclusive. Palace, Cancer, understand the patterns, understand it, recognize what's going on, recognize what's happening to the waters, the home waters, Cancer's wells, Cancer's creeks, Cancer is marshes and springs. It's all local water. See the pattern, what's happening. How does it affect you? Know where your water's coming from. It's an interesting day. Let's talk about the Sun-Saturn conjunction and bring it into the realm of the Sabian symbols, and then move on to the star of the day. So when I sit down the night before I do this, I'll look at, like, well, what's interesting? What's happening? What grabs my attention? And I saw that Sun-Saturn conjunction just hanging out there, almost like a singleton. What is it saying to us? So I turned to the Sabian symbols, and I'll show you what I came up with, or what the Sabian symbols translate into as an interpretation. Remember the story, remember the theme or the narrative about the Capricorn moon, getting things done, shearing away, in a lot of ways, things like excess emotion, or that's what I'm looking for. There's no time for sentimentality with the Capricorn moon. It's kind of tough, but it's serving a purpose. Here's that purpose. Aquarius 28, a tree felled and sawed to ensure a supply of wood for the winter. Remember, I was telling you, normally we look at what's going on in the fall, the harvest, right? We're bringing things in, we're canning them. This is how things used to work. You bring things in, you can them. You're looking at, how much wood do I have for the upcoming winter? Will we have enough? Will we survive? All these other things, right? But ironically, we're heading into the spring, and this is the message. Knowledge and skill used in its natural surroundings for the satisfaction of vital basic needs. This symbol combines, as it were, the implications represented in the two preceding ones. It relates to natural living, the human capacity to prepare for the future. Hello. And to use both physical strength and mental ingenuity in meeting the hardships inherent in an existence close to nature. Strength, efficiency, and intelligence are needed, but they are incorporated in a life in which every act can be part of a harmonic and beautiful ritual permeated with deep significance. This is the third in the 66th five-fold series of symbols. It refers to the efficient use of natural resources for ensuring man's well-being. Such a use is based on intelligent foresight. In Aquarius, it often helps to have this understanding and foresight with other people so that you can pool and share resources if and when the time comes. So this is a day of being sovereign, right? This is a sovereign day and taking responsibility for where you are and where you'll be 6 months from now, because what you do today and over the next couple of weeks, today being a moment of initiation, right, could really influence where you're going to be about 6 months from now. You're going to say, man, I'm glad I got this. Man, I'm glad we did this thing. Ironically, this weekend, I'll be cutting fallen trees starting on Saturday. So I'll be actually participating in the Sabian symbol itself. And I think in Aquarius, from a group or collective experience, we look around and we understand that, folks, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. I'm going to get into this on 15 Minutes of Flame, which follows this show at 9/11 over on my website channel. I'll have the visual for that just in a few minutes. But before that, I'm going to get into the star of the day. Kind of a skinny. So, by the way, a correction. Somebody posted this yesterday on the comments. It was Squeaky Fromm who was going to shoot Jerry Ford and not Sarah Jane Moore. Sorry, I got my Manson family members mixed up. Squeaky Fromm. New York Times editor's note correction. Today, kind of skinny on the star of the day. And speaking of skinny, let's take a look at young John McEnroe. McEnroe, probably the first punk rock tennis player. Right. I mean, John McEnroe comes of age in the era of punk. And boy, does he have the punk spunk. Jimmy Connors had an attitude. Eli Nastasi had an attitude. But nobody had an attitude like John McEnroe. John McEnroe would always argue with the line judges and the refs and whoever these people are that determine where a ball lands and who gets the point. And when you look at his body, look at him, he's skinny, he's a French fry, and yet he was able to summon an incredible athletic ability to play this game at an extremely high level. Like when the greats of tennis are discussed, McEnroe's name has to be near the top. Look at his chart. He's got a Grand Cross, right? Grand Cross. And you would ask yourself, well, where is Aries in his chart if he's always fighting? Well, look at his moon Mars. You know, when we get into Gemini, one of the reasons why McEnroe was so great are things like reaction time, peripheral vision, finely tuned and highly wired central nervous system. He's nervy, he's twitchy. You know, he's like a conduit of electricity that's just, coursing through his body, and every now and then it gets clipped, and then it sparks, and the energy just releases into the atmosphere around who's near him. And sometimes it's corrosive and it burns. But this is the fast, twitchy component of John McEnroe, Mars, Moon, Gemini, and he's fiery. He's not afraid of conflict. All right. Sun, Mars square. Not afraid of conflict. He's a warrior. And John McEnroe was a warrior on the courts. Make no mistake about it. And you look at him and you say, well, this guy is he's a pipsqueak. But no, McEnroe was the pugilist of the clay surfaces, or the pugilist of the grass. So he was a fighter. Jupiter and Sagittarius, the potential of expansion in the realm of sport, especially in areas that are dominated by natural elements, clay and grass, squaring his sun and his Mercury, Sun-Mercury conjunction. Again, there's that nervy, twitchy component of his game and his individuality, his being, right? And then right behind him is Chiron, Sun-Chiron conjunction. He doesn't care. McEnroe doesn't care. He didn't care what you thought when he played. Probably doesn't really care a hell of a lot now. He was not very well liked when he played. But he didn't care about that either. Even with the Libra ascendant, he's articulate. He's pretty glib. He's supposed to get along well with others, theoretically. But when you go over to the seventh house, there's that South Node in Aries. So we have a reversal here. It's like, hey, I don't need anybody. It's interesting because he has a brother named Patrick, and that's his middle name. I thought that was fascinating. His brother's Patrick, plays doubles with him, but that's his middle name. Here we have that, right? We can see that with the Gemini effect, right? The doubles partner being his brother. Sun-Pluto opposition. Wow. You know, to me, the Pluto opposition, especially in Virgo and especially retrograde, handing down the punishment, handing down the fines, and McEnroe always kind of reaching across and tempting the fates and the gods of Pluto and Virgo. Go ahead, find me, smack me down, cancel me. He's an interesting character. Misunderstood, I think, in many ways. Venus and Pisces, just hanging out there, little Venus by itself. Where does McEnroe find partnership? He finds it in his work, the doubles with his brother and the people that he competed against. He's a very interesting character. Saturn is in Capricorn, so he has a legacy. Saturn-Pluto trine. You get into Saturn-Pluto trines, these are people that change culture. And he did. There is probably no Andre Agassi without John McEnroe. Yeah, they crossed over a little bit. But McEnroe essentially cuts the mold for Agassi, and Agassi becomes kind of the hair metal punk rock version of McEnroe. He's a very interesting character. The Grand Cross, you know, working on conflict, working on not giving a damn about what people think or say. Repercussions, the aloneness of Venus and Pisces in the sixth, the desire and the need to harmonize, synergize, and work with others. But ultimately, McEnroe is in a battle with not just the world, but himself. And I bet if you sat down and you talked with him, he would actually share that perspective. Sun in the fifth house, he's going to be a great athlete. That's the nature of it. The moodiness of Cancer on the midheaven shows the cardinal fluctuation, the yin, the yang, the give and the take, the explosive and the temperamental. It's all there. Very interesting chart. In a day of slim pickings with the star of the day, McEnroe stands out like a supernova. All right. So where can you find me? At 9:11 a.m. I'll show you. Right here, 15 minutes of flame. I'm going to get into more of the East Palestine disaster. And I'm going to connect it up with a few things that I don't think anybody's really talking about. So if you're interested in a different perspective, come on over 15minutesoflame.com, 9:11 a.m. Central Standard Time. We're there for about an hour and a half. The sponsor of the show, of course, is True Hemp Science, truehempscience.com/ref/23. I'll have the link in the show notes if you're interested in getting some of the best CBD that I've come across, and I've been in the CBD world for a while. You could go there, type in 15 mins, 15 MINS when you check out, and you'll get some free product when you spend $100 or more. 150 plus nets you free shipping. If you're interested in a reading, you can do so at my website, robertphoenix.com/services. And this last week has been very busy on the reading front, both doing them and booking them. And before I leave, I just got to say, I had another client yesterday, Gen Z, young guy. I love this generation. They're open. They're authentic. Pluto and Sagittarius, they can embrace the big question, right? They can embrace the big idea, the big concept. They're very interesting group. So I'm their cheerleaders. Of course, I'm biased. I have a Gen Z kid. All right. Thanks for being here, everybody. Use your head in order to discern what's real, your heart to say what's possible. This is Robert Phoenix with your Astro Weather on the 16th of February, 2023. And hopefully you'll join us over on the 15 Minutes of Flame side of things. Bye for now.